From Kansas State University, this is Agriculture Today. Eric Atkinson with you. Here's what's ahead. On the cattle markets, K-State's Glynn Tonsor. He'll talk about the implications of the Russian invasion of Ukraine on the economy and grain prices, and then the downstream effect on the cattle trade, the impact on beef demand overall going forward, also in his sights. Then Shelby Varner welcomes in K-State's Dave Nichols and members of the livestock marketing class, Cassidy, Cage, and Caden McAfee, as they'll talk about the upcoming Legacy Bull and Heifer sale taking place this Friday in conjunction with Cattlemen's Day. And K-State's Jenny Ifft will be back to continue her series on price risk management for you cow-calf producers. All that next on Agriculture Today. Welcome once more. You're tuned in to the K-State Radio Network and Agriculture Today, our Monday edition, opening up, as usual, on the cattle markets and loads of things to kick around there. Joining us here is Glynn Tonsor, livestock economist, K-State Research and Extension. Of course, the elephant in the room, Glynn, the Russian invasion of Ukraine and its repercussions. We'll get into that, but let's take a look back at the markets last week. Actually, a fair run of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement. You alluded to the biggest driver, but we'll end our discussion there. Let's just break down the numbers first. Was AMS called the Fed cattle market at 143 for the week. For context, the April live cattle contract ended at about 142, so basis is roughly where we'd expect it to be. But that April contract was down $4 on the week, almost all that on Thursday. I'm not going to make a Russia comment every time I speak this morning, but definitely the volatility started on Thursday. Dodge City feeder cattle market, AMS called it very, very mixed. So the lighter weights, so think 6 weights and under, were up. The heavy weights were down. And two specific lots were very 69 head weighing 654, sold for 173, and 308 head weighing 823, sold 157. Round that out, we look over the board. March feeder cattle closed about 160. Down a little bit more than $5 on the week. Again, most of that pullback was on Thursday. I made some notes here. I'm sure my colleague Dan O'Brien's going to talk at length about what's going on in the grain markets. That's maybe the most direct immediate effect from what's going on in Russia, Ukraine. But the grain markets got rocked. Lots of volatility, particularly Thursday pullback, and then some recovery on Friday. Lots of uncertainty about exactly what's going on there. I highlight that because the initial and immediate impact for livestock producers is feed cost uncertainty. We'll come back to some other concerns I have on that front. The cutout also had an odd experience this past week. So we closed Friday with a $3 spread between Choice and Select. So $2.58 on Choice, Select was $2.55. Both are down from the prior Friday. The point I'm highlighting is on Tuesday, we actually had that market invert, and it was just for a brief time. Select was $2 premium to Choice. I took note, I think it was on Twitter, I said 14 times. There's been 14 days that's happened before, so it's not the first time it's happened, but it's not the norm. I mean, there's some anomalies underneath that, relative volumes and the like. We do not expect that to persist, and it was a one-day event. The final thing here, just kind of a state of what happened this past week. On the processing numbers, the estimates through Saturday was 647,000. We were about 660 the week before, 665 the same week the year before. Don't overreact to that. We actually expect to be down a little bit. Year-to-date, cattle's down almost 0.5%. We're expecting basically for that negative compared to the year before to continue and grow as the year goes on. And for quick context on meat supplies, year-to-date hog slaughter's down about 8%. So one of the reasons we have improving livestock prices going into this week at least is there's supply-side support.
There's the backdrop of what's going on in the markets, and we'll pick up on Russia-Ukraine shortly here. But let's get to this first, the cattle on feed report out from the USDA last Friday. And rather stand out in its lack of new information or unexpected information.
Yeah, and I've said this before. Sometimes that's exactly what we want. And if there was ever a week where we wanted a non-event report, it would be this one, given what else is going on. So, yes, the cattle on feed report did not have major surprises. So February 1st on feed up 1% compared to February of 21. January marketing's down 3%. January placements down 1%. And, my notes here, they were right on line with the pre-report expectations. I don't think they were market movers. And in many ways, by the time you and I are talking here, the market's already moved on from that report. So, yes, it is okay to have a vanilla report at times, and we definitely had one this month.
Well, what is not vanilla by any stretch and any perception is the Russia-Ukraine situation, and it's well documented. Folks are tracking it regularly, almost hourly, to see what's going on there. And well, the clear direct impacts, as you noted earlier, would be on grain prices and therefore trickling down to the livestock sectors.
Yeah, so your feed cost impacts is the reason I highlight that. Some quick context on meat demand implications. So Russia itself is not a major importer these days. Part of that, those that are gray and older like me who might remember in the past, poultry was a area where Russia imported a lot from the U.S., I think 5 or more years ago before that's really been the case. Since then, there's been a lot of quote-unquote self-sufficiency efforts by Russia to produce their own protein. So there's not this, let's call it direct impact on meat demand to be aware of, but I think there's a very important indirect one. And anytime you have an event like this, and I hope it ends soon and doesn't go further and so forth like everybody, but I have no idea when it's going to end and how long it's going to go on, it definitely magnifies everything in the geopolitical, global economic, broader macroeconomic, consumer confidence arena. And there's a lot of stuff related to that, right? That at the end of the day, meat demand is stronger when consumers are confident, if they think they live in a safe world, if they think their incomes are going to go up, if they don't think inflation is going to erode their wages and so forth. Those are all good for meat demand. And we definitely have elevated uncertainty on all of those fronts in the last 4 to 5 days. As I said, I hope that slows down some. Perhaps my biggest concern that gets beyond just sitting here today is there's been undercurrents, and globally I'd argue, certainly here in the U.S. and in Russia as evidenced by this and so forth, that are a little bit more hunkered down, a pushback on globalization is the way I would describe it, questioning the role of country A exporting, country B importing, and so forth. For livestock producers listening to this, we need to be very aware that a lot of the growth opportunities ahead, in years ahead, and a lot of the reasons for improving prices the last few months, and actually I go back even longer than that, have to do with strong meat exports. So beef exports, pork exports, poultry exports, depending on what species we're talking about. And I have a notable concern that if the world sort of hunkers down and just stays at home, like each country does that, we sort of disconnect in the trade context. One way to think about it is the ceiling of possibilities for your market shrinks. By USMEF's estimates for 2021, about 22% of the value tied to our fed steers was tied to exports. Now, that's not 22% of the tonnage, it's 22% of the value, and that really reveals the key point is you're finding a market for products that are more valuable than staying here at home. And as we anchor back down, as we kind of hunker down, if you like, you lose access. Maybe just by choice, you lose access to some of those markets. And pretty much by definition, that devalues the carcass and therefore the steer and ultimately therefore the mama cow in the whole industry. So my concern is certainly I would like for the Russia-Ukraine thing to be resolved peacefully and quickly, 100% with most of the world in that. The economist in me says there could be these adverse long-term spillover hunker-down mentalities that aren't friendly to trade, and that's not good to a major ag exporter like the U.S.
When it comes to our domestic beef demand, though, in our economy and its situation, you can understand why producers would be a bit anxious about that, but are we somewhat buffered there in any way?
Well, we enter from a good spot right now. I tried to set the stage that we could be at this pivot point where things change, of course, and we have domestic inflation that is still on the table that's front and center on that as well. But to that point, we're sitting here on Monday, about 2 days from now, maybe 3 days, I'll have the latest update. So the meat demand monitor numbers for February will be out at that point. I don't have them sitting here today, but they're coming soon. I hope they're a good story. The latest demand info I have domestically from USDA-based information would be for the month of December, and there was a small pullback compared to November, but yet was still well above where we were in 2020. The punchline there would be as we ended 2021, every month between August and December, above where we were in 2020. So beef demand as a whole domestically was stronger than it was in 2020 as we ended 2021. And export demand, the same statement holds, just for more months. So we started the year in a good place. The domestic concerns about inflation, what that does to buying power in particular, are still there. The spillover effects of oil price uncertainty and what that might do to buying power go back to the Russia-Ukraine thing as well. There was already concerns on that front, and this has just magnified it. So uncertainty throughout society, it's not even just the beef market here, right? Uncertainty on all fronts has certainly been elevated in the last 4 days.
By the way, his latest meat demand monitor results, as Glynn notes, will be posted on the agmanager.info website quite soon here. Look for that later on this week. And you will be in the spotlight on Cattlemen's Day this Friday as well, Glynn. You're always invited to talk about the cattle market outlook. you have more to add to the pot this year, obviously.
Yeah, so I always attempt to not procrastinate, right? Make my slides the day before to keep them current. That will be very important this week. I hope some of what I just shared, I'll have an update where things are calming down. But I'm not Nostradamus. I can't predict that or guarantee that. I do look forward to engaging the group. Several of my colleagues in animal science are speaking, giving research updates on different aspects of the beef production chain, think from cow to plate, so to speak, before me. So I encourage you to pull up the program. If you're available, come join us. I'm confident they will do a good job, and hopefully I will do a good job.
You will, without a doubt. Cattlemen's Day at Weber Hall and Arena this Friday, March the 4th, and Glynn will be speaking toward the latter part of the morning session there. Be sure to take that in. Lastly, any thoughts on how the markets will behave this week? So much volatility woven in here, Glynn.
So you and I were talking before the markets open. The European stock market is being hammered. Oil is up. It's ongoing impacts from the Russia-Ukraine story. There's a notable global effort to basically reduce the ability for Russia to conduct business, financially tying their hands, so to speak. That's the most simple way I know to put that. The market's going to struggle with that for a couple days. That still might be the right thing in the grand scheme. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think we're all going to keep watching exactly what happens, right, if Kiev is taken and if it stops there and so forth, and if Russia is deterred at some point or not. The story for this week starts there, and I can't predict when that's going to stop. But the markets this morning are showing elevated turmoil because they don't handle that uncertainty very well.
And the cattle market's not isolated from that.
No, and to be direct, I would anticipate the cattle market, maybe even the grain market, to bounce a lot in the next 2 or 3 days.
Right. Hold on, producers, and thanks, as always, Glynn, for coming over.
Thank you.
Glynn Tonsor, livestock economist, K-State Research and Extension on the cattle markets. Again, catch Glynn's presentation at Cattlemen's Day this Friday here at Kansas State University. And we'll have more along that line after this break. This is Agriculture Today.
This is Agriculture Today. I'm Shelby Varner. K-State's Legacy Bull and Female Sale is coming up this Friday, and in to talk about it is longtime K-State animal scientist Dave Nichols and 2 students who are part of the Livestock Sales Management class here at K-State that help organize and put this sale on. Cassidy and Caden McAfee. Dave, you've been a part of K-State and this sale for a long time. Could you kind of give me a run-through of the history and how it all got started?
Yeah, gladly. This is a unique opportunity. This will be my last sale, and this is our 45th legacy sale. Now, we used to call it Special K sale. It started, and we were one of the we were the first university to do this. Since then, there's been 2 or 3 universities that still have one. But in fact, we have 45 years of a legacy of purebred livestock at Kansas State. And it really started due to the success of a heifer called Manhattan Gal. And most of your listeners probably don't remember that far back, but Manhattan Gal was an Angus heifer produced here at Kansas State, and she won every national show. She was champion in Denver, she was national at Louisville, champion of the National Futurity, and that kind of what sparked the initial interest. And so in 1977, we had the first Special K Angus sale in Weber Arena. At that time, Dr. Miles McKee was overseeing the purebred unit. Galen Fink was the herdsman at that point, and we had our first sale. And from then on, the sale's taken a lot of different forms through the years. We are now a bull and female sale. A few years ago, we changed the name from Special K to Legacy, and it's always now held the first Friday in March in conjunction with Cattlemen's Day. And we've got a great group of students. That's the best part. The sale has changed through the years, but what hasn't changed is the great students we have at Kansas State.
So what value does this sale have for those students?
I'll let them answer that probably more than I will. I think it's an opportunity to learn. We have a lot of guest speakers. They've heard from several experts in the field how to put on a sale, catalog development. One of the things that's a little unfortunate, the kids don't breed the cattle. Those decisions are made, so they have to produce what we have planned on a breeding program. But they've been involved with videos. They've been involved in pictures, catalogs, all those kind of things. They really basically, we could say they do everything but the auctioneering. We've always hired an outside auctioneer.
What do you hope that this sale achieves?
I hope it achieves a lifelong learning, a lifelong curiosity to do better each year. It's a chance to showcase good genetics, we think cutting-edge genetics, but more importantly, to showcase the abilities of our students.
You've been a part of it for a long time, and you continue to work on it. What makes you so excited about being a part of the Legacy Sale?
I think what drives it mostly is the newness of the students and, again, the unique opportunity we have. I've often said I'd starve as a salesman, but I wouldn't starve selling K-State. I believe in K-State with all my heart. My whole career's been here and working with these students. I started as a graduate student, in all honesty. I haven't been here I started here in grad school and helped Dr. McKee, who was a legend. Miles was one of the greatest people I ever knew. And so I started helping him, and I was at the first sale we were relaying bids from the library because that was prior to any kind of cell phone. So we had people on phones, and we would kind of like relay things down when the arena was. And so that was the first start, and I've been involved with it every year, teaching the class and have a new set of students. And it's exciting because we've got a great group of students, and I think we've made some real progress in the cattle we're offering this year.
Very proud of not only your cattle, but how the sale has progressed to continue to help the students.
I hope so. I'll be anxious to hear what they might say, but I think so. And I think what's important is it provides a unique hands-on learning opportunity for our students at Kansas State, and that's one of the things we're proudest of.
And with us are two of those students who are in that class, Cassidy and Caden. How did you get involved in this class?
This is a class that I always kind of had on the radar to take. This is my last spring semester here at Kansas State, so I knew it was a one I had to fit in, and definitely wanted to get it. And it's been a great experience from the very beginning for me.
For me, I'm actually looking into going to get my master's here at K-State within the marketing department, and so I knew that I wanted to find an opportunity within the agriculture field that's so near and dear to my heart to do marketing within that field. And so I feel like this opportunity has really given me a chance to not only work on my marketing overall, but in the seed stock business that's so near and dear to my heart.
So what part of this sale do you guys help with, and what are all the other things that other students help do?
Kind of from the beginning, we went out as a class and got to walk through the bulls, and there was a cut pen and a pen of sale bulls, and we got to kind of give our advice on, hey, maybe this one should be in the sale, or this one's not cutting it in to me. And so that was kind of the beginning. That was one of the first weeks of class. And then more recently, we had the opportunity to help with videos. Kent Jakey came and some of the students were out there helping video bulls, and we got to learn about that. And then on sale day, all hands are on deck. Everybody's got a job. It's going to take all of us to get the sale to run smooth, and definitely just something that we're all going to have to work hard to get it pulled off, but it'll be a great day when we all get through with it.
For me, I would say I was more involved with the marketing side, like I've talked about already. But I helped Angie a lot with putting the catalog together and pulling all that data to put into the catalog to make all the pedigrees and the EPDs all go into the catalog as they should. And so I think that was my most benefit. But like Caden said, I also did the things he talked about. So I think it's a really good opportunity for all students to be able to help all across the board. Even in, I know Caden also got to look at the catalog. Well, I might have helped a little bit more with it because that's my interest. We all got the chance to go through and look at it and make our edits and go from there.
And I would add, along with myself, Shane Work, who's our beef herdsman, who obviously takes care of the cattle, and then Angie Denton, huge help. I mean, it's not just me, it's the three of us together kind of supervising the students.
And Dave, has the students taught you anything new this year as they prepare for this sale?
Always. Well, the professor is teaching, he's also learning. As every student comes from a different perspective. And what is so neat, Shelby, is that somebody will come up with an idea, well, we hadn't thought about that. And that's the way it's been through years. I mean, the changes that have happened through the sales through the years have been mostly student-driven. Well, why don't we do this? And when you tap that ability with young people, I'm so proud of all of them. And come sale day, we start out with the first lecture, what will be a successful sale? And you can measure success a lot of ways. Obviously, we hope it's a good sale money-wise. We can use the money to support the unit. But I think just as importantly, is it well-run? Is it well-organized? Are the cattle well-presented? And will our alumni show up? And we want everybody to come to Cattlemen's Day. And I'm very, very proud of all these kids.
What do you hope to take from what you've learned and put it on into your future?
There's a lot from this class and my experience here at Kansas State, but kind of more looking into this class, I'd like to have a production sale someday, and everything we've done in this class is kind of helping me get towards that goal. I'll have a pretty good idea from day one when we're sorting the bulls to all the way up to sale day. I'll be able to be involved in lots of different things on sale day that I haven't had experience in necessarily in the past, and will definitely prepare me for my future.
For me, learning about this in the agriculture field specifically like a bull sale, will be very beneficial to me as I pursue the marketing industry in the future.
We've talked all about how we've got to developing this bull sale. When is the bull sale and female sale?
Friday, March 4th, 4 o'clock, Stanley Stout Center. And it will be in conjunction with Cattlemen's Day. Cattlemen's Day is early on in the day. And then at 4 o'clock, the sale will kick off. We've got about 21 Angus bulls and 13 Simmental bulls, 8 Herefords, bred females, commercial females. It'll be at the Stanley Stout Center, and we hope everyone will come.
If people want to come see these cattle before sale day, when can that happen?
The cattle will be at the purebred. The cattle are at Purebred Barn now, and they will be on display. They're on display anytime they want to come see them. We hope to have them moved over from the Purebred Barn about 11 o'clock on Friday.
If people are wanting to figure out more information about this sale, where can they go find it?
Go to K-State's homepage, Facebook, all those avenues of marketing. Contact us at the Department of Animal Science. Go to our K-State homepage, and details are there, and all the information they might need. Or they're welcome to call me, Dave Nichols.
Definitely another place to look. If you've got a catalog, there's all the contact information you would need in there. There's Dr. Nichols' phone number, Shane Worth's phone number. Any questions you have on any lots, they would definitely be great people to reach out to, and their contacts in there to any questions you might have.
And if anyone wants a catalog and didn't get one, we've still got time to get them one.
And what information, cattle-wise, is found within the catalogs?
You can find just about all you need to know on these cattle, anywhere from birth dates, registration numbers if you want to take those and look yourself. But there's an EPD profile on every single lot. It kind of tells you which lots might work in your program. You can assess those and see what is your program lacking, and then find a bull to kind of help you make your herd stronger in that. And that can all be found in the catalog.
There's also on the website, there's a tab up there that you can go and look at each video of every single lot. And those are found on the website, like I said. And you can go and it says lot 1, lot 2, lot 3. And you can watch a video of every single bull that we'll have featured in the sale.
And for the sale, do you have to be in person, or is there an online option?
We have contracted with an auction, a CCI. You can bid on the internet and go ahead and register with that. CCI Auctions is our online provider this time.
Sounds like a great way to continue to support. Thank you guys for talking about K-State's Legacy Bull and Female Sale that is coming up this Friday at 4 p.m. That was longtime K-State animal scientist Dave Nichols, joined by 2 students from the sales management class, Cassidy Cage and Caden McAfee. If you're interested in finding out more information about this sale, go to www.asi.ksu.edu/bull sale. I'm Shelby Varner, and we will be back with more on Agriculture Today.
To round out this Agriculture Today, we continue our series on price risk management for you cow-calf operators out there. And once more back by our way is K-State risk management specialist Jenny Ifft. And now we're into really the nugget of the discussion as we talk today, Jenny, and that is one of the alternatives for managing that price risk is something called livestock risk protection, a USDA insurance product, right?
Right. And why we're talking about livestock risk protection is because, one, it can help protect producers against price declines. It's a type of price insurance. And also, it's pretty cost effective. The federal government pays part of the premiums.
How it works in a nutshell.
Yep.
It's not all that complicated, but it is with its details.
Right. So LRP works a lot like a put option. We talked about options last week. It's a type of insurance that pays out when market prices for feeder cattle, in this case, are lower than the price that is expected. Think about a producer that calves in April and sells at weans in October. Right now, the expected price for October for feeder cattle is around $194 per hundredweight, so very similar to the futures price. A producer can purchase an LRP policy or an endorsement at a coverage price. The producer selects the specific coverage price, anywhere from $174 to $194. And come October, if the price is less than the coverage price they selected, they get a payout. So let's say you select a coverage price of $193 per hundredweight. if come October prices are below $193 per hundredweight, you get a payment to make up that difference.
The premiums that a producer would have to pay are consummate with those levels of coverage, though, right?
Right. And it's a case where you get what you pay for. So those higher coverage levels, let's say 193, the premium for that is $657 per hundredweight, and you could go all the way down to a coverage price of $174 per hundredweight, and that's going to be $1.81 per hundredweight. So it's a big price range, so anywhere from $1 to $7 per hundredweight. The highest coverage policies cost more because it's much more likely that you have those smaller drops in prices than a larger drop in prices. So they reflect that. And they also reflect the fact that payouts are going to be higher for higher coverage prices.
Makes sense. How you think about this as far as risk management and whether it is worth it.
Right.
That's the leading question.
Right. Yeah, everyone's dealing with inflation today, so I think people are being really careful, or even more careful than usual, about expenses. So there's different ways to think about, is it worth taking on this additional expense? One really simple way, you can look at the premium and the price floor, the revenue guarantee, and you can think is it worth it? So would I pay $657 per hundredweight to make sure that I can get $193 per hundredweight? Or if that's too much, would I pay $1.81 per hundredweight for a price of $174 per hundredweight? If it's still not clear after that, one thing to think about is, say you have a break-even price, then you can use that. So does this help me achieve a break-even price or to do better than that? A third approach is comparing LRP to other expenses. Producers do have other expenses that in some cases can help mitigate or lower risk. One example is for vaccinations. Right. So I found one estimate for BVD, bovine viral disease, for pre-weaned calves. The cost for a vaccine for that was about $2 per hundredweight, just the cost of the medicine. If you add on several vaccines for a more standard package, $4 to $6 per hundredweight. And these are these are estimates. It's going to be different for every producer. Labor costs may come into play. But these approximate costs of vaccines are very comparable to LRP premiums. So that gives a producer a frame of reference to think about those costs.
There's much more to analyzing LRP, and we will be spending time in our next segment on that, looking at the value of that price guarantee. Jenny, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Risk Management Specialist, K-State's Department of Agricultural Economics, Jenny Ifft. Once again, she's along with us each Monday for the next few weeks yet as we continue this series on managing that price risk in the cow-calf operation. Our time's away for today. Thanks for tuning in. For Shelby Varner, Eric Atkinson here. This has been Agriculture Today over the K-State Radio Network.